So that's how we protect the information, personal information that
You said 72 years?
Yes, 72 years.
Oh. So we could look at the census now from the year 2030. I mean, from 1930 is what you're saying.
So
that would be 78 years right
minus
now.
70. Yes.
So if you wanted to look at the census information from 1930,
back, yeah.
or back,
right.
Going forward, it's still protected.
Yes. So in 2010, after you responded, so plus 72 years, so we cannot release the information until 2082. So that's how long the
I don't know if I'll be here then.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why a lot of people may not be here anymore. If you have to wait that long to get certain information, well, that's how long you'd have to wait.
That's the rules.
Yep, that is the rules.
And the questionnaire you said will be delivered in March. Does it go out earlier, or it'll be in March of 2010?
It's relatively around that time, March 2010, roughly 3 to 4 weeks. And again, Census Day is April 1st, 2010. So everyone has roughly about a month to respond. And we encourage everyone to fill out the questionnaires and mail it back as soon as they can.
And everybody gets one?
Every household gets one, and also not only households, but everyone in, like say, group homes or even the homeless, they get counted. So everyone gets counted.
Well, how do we get the homeless to fill out a questionnaire?
Well, we have enumerators who do the enumeration for that population. But for example, also we have, we enumerate group homes, such as senior homes, homeless shelters, college dormitories.
So a homeless shelter will get one?
Yes, sir.
And they'll be responsible for filling it out?
Yes, those group quarters will be responsible for enumerating the people who are in that facility.
And college dorms?
Yes, they will also receive forms, so the college dormitories. So every group home, again, we call it group quarters. So whether it's a senior home, a correctional facility, a homeless shelter, even like transitory types of homes like RVs and RV parks, they will all be counted.
Now, dorms. I have a son or a daughter living in a dorm. Are they supposed to fill out the form in the college dorm, or do they go on the list with their mom or dad where they originated from?
Well, the college dorms, the way that we enumerate is that everyone gets enumerated in the residence or where they are located the most. So if your majority of your time is spent at the college dorm, yes, you should respond through the college dormitory.
But you shouldn't do it twice.
No, but yeah, we have certain checks and balances for that. That's why when the questionnaire is designed to detect that. But we do encourage that. Yeah, the college dormitories, you respond through there.
Okay, Veronica, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some of the actual questions that are being asked this year, and not only the questions on the census, but maybe some of the questions on that survey as well, and who collects that information.
Absolutely.
For Veronica Lavarro, please stay with us after these messages where we'll talk more about the 2010 census here in the city of Elizabeth and our country. Welcome back to our city. I'm pleased to be joined by Veronica Lavarro, a partnership specialist with the U.S. Census 2010. Veronica, welcome back. One of the things we want to talk about in the second half of the show is what are the questions? You talked in the first segment about 7 to 10 questions. What are they? I guess one of the first questions would be the names of the people who live there, right?
Absolutely, you got it. The questions are the name, the relationship to the head of the household. Of course, the question pertains to the entire household, not just the breadwinner. So whether it's your, from the mother to the newborn infant. Not to digress, again, name, relationship to the head of the household, gender, age and date of birth, race, and whether the respondent owns or rents his or her home. So those are the few simple questions that everyone has to respond to.
Well, you raise an interesting question. In a partnership relationship, how would they characterize that when you say head of household in relation to the household? How would that question be answered?
That's a good question. I mean, I guess it would be like a typical, it could be like the head of the family, mother, father, or it could be a breadwinner, but I think that's self-determined by the household.
Oh, okay. So they would determine where they would
Yep.
write the checks in the questions. And do you want names of children as well?
We want everybody in the questionnaire. So again, whether you're head of household, a newborn infant, your college-age daughter or son, we have to have all this information.
Do they ask income levels in the questionnaire? Or,
Not in this 2010 census form. I think we touched upon it earlier in 2000. We have all this, the long form, which had all these questions that's now being asked in the American Community Survey. So
yeah, one of the things you intrigued me about, Veronica, is this survey. That's a lot of these questions have been segued out of the questionnaire for the census.
Right.
Now, this survey, is it compiled by the Census Bureau, or is it compiled by some other private organization, or you're not involved in it at all?
No, I mean, it's still conducted by the U.S. Census Bureau. It is under the U.S. Census Bureau, but we've tried to make the process simpler and easier. So in 2010, they will just respond to 7 to 10 questions, and the rest of the long form questions, I'll just say long form questions that were asked back in 2000, we have separated that into the American Community Survey, which is administered to a randomly selected population, and that's actually going on right now.
So that started already?
That already started, yes, ma'am.
And will that culminate as well in April of 2010? Is that when it finishes, or does that finish earlier?
Yeah. Actually, we just released data for 2007, so that's ongoing, and that's going on right now. So
that's been an ongoing thing over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean,
and that will continue post 2010 is.
Yes, unless somehow there's any other change that that's determined by the Bureau. So that's ongoing right now. And actually, the benefit of that is also we get that social demographic, socioeconomic types of responses. We don't have to wait every 10 years to be able to determine that. So it's a benefit for all of us also.
Now, the social economic questions are interesting, especially the one about race. That always plays a role in people filling out a questionnaire. And how does the Census Bureau deal with that, and what's the importance of the issue on race?
Well, the question about race and ethnicity, that's actually also asked in the census, in the 2010 census form that will be asked. And how that affects all of us. Well, Mayor, I mean, in terms of either allocation of funds or planning of programs and services and determining policies, that's of course important, whether it's promoting equal employment opportunity, protection of civil rights, again, allocation of funds, or development of programs intended for ethnic and minorities. That's of course important. And aside from the fact that we get a clear and accurate picture of our population and the diversity of our population. So that's main.
So if there was a large Asian population or a large Hispanic population, I mean, funds could be dedicated as English as a second language courses or
Sure.
something based on the questionnaire and how it's filled out on race and ethnicity.
Yeah, I mean, it will determine the need, and of course it will determine how to respond to such needs.
Okay. Housing information, you talked about owning and renting. Is that a demographic that is extremely important, or what does that do for the census?
Sure, Mayor, probably a recurrent theme that I will say over and over again as we talk about the census is, again, allocation of funds or developing of programs and services or policies. So for example, forecasting of future housing needs, determining areas eligible for housing assistance and rehabilitation loans, or establishing fair rents and fair lending practices. That's why it's important to get the census questionnaire filled out, because housing, of course, is one of the needs that our communities and local municipalities have to address.